You are now watching The Beach.
It has officially been a month since the Nintendo Switch 2 launched. I gotta be real, I've been loving the Nintendo Switch 2 itself. It's truly a significant upgrade, and it's what I wanted from a Nintendo Switch successor. But considering it's been a month since the Nintendo Switch 2 launched, that of course means it's been a month since Mario Kart World launched. Mario Kart World has definitely been polarizing to say the least, considering I've put over 80 hours into the game, and that it's been an entire month. I wanted to discuss how I'm feeling about the game now, how I feel the game will be seen in retrospect, and overall, am I still having fun with the game, or have I gotten to the point where I've exhausted the game's content? The Mario Kart games are always amongst my most played Nintendo games. There are some multiplayer-centric games I almost always exclusively play when I have friends over. Any of the Mario Party games are a prime example of that. Although I will admit, Super Mario Party Jamboree has some really solid single-player content which I was not expecting. Mario Kart games are always a go-to for multiplayer, but I also enjoy just playing Mario Kart on my own. It's usually to obtain 3-star rankings in the Grand Prix Cups. I gotta be real, everybody's been saying it, but the pathways really have overstayed their welcome. At first, they weren't that bad. That was only due to the novelty of the game being new. It took 11 years to get a new Mario Kart game, so of course that sense of excitement was going to be there. Remember when Wave 1 of the Booster Course Pass launched? It definitely was fun for a bit, but in retrospect, it was easily the worst wave and did not leave a good first impression. But it had that initial novelty of being new. I can still have fun playing the Grand Prix. I still have a few more cups to get 3 stars on, but that's mainly due to the lack of motivation to get them. Considering that a huge bulk of the cups consist of the pathways, I don't find them that enjoyable. What I've mainly been doing now is occasionally playing free roam, but mostly playing versus mode local multiplayer. But even then, some of the cracks are starting to show. I was always wary about whether or not 30 tracks would be satisfactory. I love most of the new tracks, but the retro tracks can be a mixed bag. On one hand, you have Wario Stadium 64 and Toad's Factory, but then you have stuff like Desert Hills and Moo Moo Meadows yet again. Just as I feared, the lower amount of tracks has impacted my experience, and I'm already starting to feel a bit fatigued. Though to be real, part of that has to do with how much I've been playing the game. It's not just due to me putting 80 hours into the game, but the fact that it's all I've been playing on the Nintendo Switch too. It's normal to have lulls where I do get a bit fatigued with a game, but then have a blast with it after taking a break and returning to it. But I do feel that 30 tracks is just not enough, and considering we've been so used to 48 tracks, it's not a good thing. I've unlocked most of the characters. I'm only missing Fishbones and Swoop. Now the Kamek method to unlock characters is garbage. Nothing good about it. But the more I think about it, I think that randomized unlockables were included to artificially inflate the amount of time you spend playing the game. You know how NES games were brutally challenging to extend the amount of time you play them? That was due to the low storage of an NES cartridge, by the way. They couldn't fit a ton on there. It's a little bit similar to that. I did try using the split screen method to unlock characters, but I ended up getting so bored and frustrated with it that I just gave up. I'll get the remaining characters when I get them at this point. Now with free roam, it's a complete waste of potential. I'm still having fun doing missions, but I haven't gained an appreciation for it, nor have I resented it more. I elaborated on it in my full hour-long review of the game, but this is one aspect where I feel pretty much the same a month later. Now we get into the online. Online in Mario Kart games is usually a great way to test your skill, considering you're racing with other people. Once I get all 3 stars in the Grand Prix, that's usually where I spend my time playing Mario Kart solo. But as we're all aware, Nintendo updated Mario Kart World to include pathway tracks when you select random. No longer are you guaranteed a regular track. You're going to be stuck with the dreaded pathway tracks for the majority of online. At this point, I'm just done. I have zero desire to play Mario Kart World in worldwide lobbies. I don't feel like I'm testing my skill anymore, because the best strategy for pathways is just to bag items. And the thing is, most of these pathways aren't fun. The real fun is with the actual tracks, not commuting to them. I have little desire to go back to the Grand Prix and even less of a desire to play in worldwide lobbies. Now when I stream Mario Kart World, that's still a lot of fun considering I'm racing with you guys and we get to select whatever tracks we want. I'm definitely going to continue streaming Mario Kart World as it's still a lot of fun for that, just like how the Versus mode is. But in terms of the Grand Prix and worldwide lobbies, I'm pretty tapped out. Considering a bulk of Mario Kart World's content consists of the pathways, which I'm not enjoying, I hate to say it, but I don't see myself replaying Mario Kart World like I did and still do with the other Mario Kart games. I still go back to Mario Kart DS to this day, but until serious changes are made, and until more content is added, it doesn't have that same replay value the other Mario Kart games do. In its current state, I'm mainly just going to play it with friends and during streams. The worldwide lobbies weren't perfect, but having the guaranteed regular tracks with random, it was a workaround. Now with that workaround gone, I and many other players have not been incentivized to play in worldwide lobbies. Once you reach at minimum 5,000 VR before the update, everyone was selecting random. It's pretty clear how most people feel about the pathways, and Nintendo has to know people don't like them. But it's pretty clear why they did the recent update. This was a very common thing throughout the Wii and Wii U era, but whenever Nintendo would come up with a gimmick, they'd want you to play the game with the gimmick with no options for more traditional controls. The good news is that most of the time, it worked out. A game like Wii Sports simply wouldn't be Wii Sports without the motion controls. And although it would have been nice to have classic controller support in games like Super Mario Galaxy and New Super Mario Bros. Wii, it wasn't the end of the world. But then you have cases like Mario Party 10, Star Fox Zero, and Paper Mario Color Splash, where the gimmicks weren't a good idea, and there was nothing you could do to get around them. A fellow YouTuber and fan of the channel, an 18-year-old on YouTube, just did an excellent video talking about how just because an idea is new in a Mario game, that doesn't necessarily make it good. This is why the term gimmick has a negative connotation, even though gimmicks are great. I love games like Wii Sports, Super Mario Maker, Flipnote Studio, Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, and Game & Wario that are completely centered around them. Mario Kart World is exactly like that with the pathways. Nintendo is so proud of them. I'm sure they spent a solid amount of time developing them too. So in their minds, they feel like they need to make people like them, hoping they'll eventually get accustomed to them. But the thing is, some new ideas are just bad inherently. Playing them more isn't going to make them better, it's going to do quite the opposite. Eating Billy Dogs multiple times won't change a thing. They're always going to be disgusting. A month later, I'm still enjoying Mario Kart World, but its glaring issues are really starting to show. It also does feel a little bit lacking in terms of content, pretty mildly, kinda like how when Animal Crossing New Horizons launched. My full review still stands outside of the online update which happened after I posted the review, so if you want my in-depth analysis, feel free to check it out. But I can confidently say that Mario Kart World will be viewed in retrospect more critically as time goes on. When it launched, of course it was deemed as the best Mario Kart game. That's what's called the honeymoon phase. Yeah, after 11 years of Mario Kart 8, of course it was exciting and novel. And there still are going to be the people who have this as their favorite Mario Kart game, just because it's their opinion. But in its current state, I wouldn't be surprised if players just go back to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I have also come to terms that Nintendo's strongest Nintendo Switch games are their single-player focused games. They almost always are some of the greatest games of all time, and that's what 2023 mostly consisted of. And wouldn't you know it, nearly every game that year was a masterpiece. But in terms of games with a focus on multiplayer, it's completely hit or miss. On one hand, you have the Splatoon games Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, the WarioWare games, and the recent Mario Party games. But oftentimes, they are lacking in content and the updates aren't frequent or substantial. If you feel the same way, I'd like to know. Maybe Mario Kart World will get better with future updates, and hopefully Nintendo will realize how stupid forcing pathways is. All they have to do is have a mode to play regular tracks in worldwide lobbies, and they could also include a classic Grand Prix. And boom! The biggest problems will be solved. It made sense to launch Mario Kart World with the Nintendo Switch 2 from a business perspective. But I definitely think Donkey Kong Bananza would have been a much better and more impactful launch title. Unless any more major developments happen with Mario Kart World, I've said pretty much all there is to say about the game. In terms of Mario Kart, I'm doing a retrospective of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and an updated every Mario Kart game ranked video. But for now, I'm enjoying myself some Ruffy in the Riverside and waiting for my favorite game in the world to release July 17th. Be on the lookout for the next episode of Trash or Treasure covering Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. So what are you guys thinking about Mario Kart World a month after it launched? Special shout out to Ultra Bomber 64, FastFan07, Sochi the Yoshi, Generic Russ, Marcus TZB, Colin Wickham, Paper Brothers, Glitzy Terror, and Mevins 2001 for being channel members. Anyways, thanks for watching and keep calm and da-don.